I get a very good quality of life. I get good, solid, what I call mule energy. I don't get stallion energy, but I get good mule energy.
Hey, Brian, thanks for coming to spend some time with me today.
Hey, Tracy, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So can you talk a little bit about what is going on with you, how you've been feeling
Hmm.
up till
Absolutely.
now?
Absolutely. I have several issues on my plate that I'm juggling a bit, but the predominant one is that I was recently diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease or end-stage renal disease. And what that means for people not familiar with it is that there are four stages of kidney disease. In the end stage, it's essentially a medical category to say we really don't know what to do with you from this point, and your only remaining options are to be on either dialysis or to have a kidney replacement, which I am not interested in doing at this point for a variety of reasons. But I am currently on dialysis and have been um, pretty much for this last year. Um, can I share with you a little bit about how I started this journey and what got me here?
Yeah, whatever your heart wants to spill.
Sure. Great. Well, uh, looking back on it, I was in some ways I was very surprised when all of this happened to me because I'd been living what I thought was a relatively healthy lifestyle. I uh, had explored a number of different diets, and I understood about keto. I understood about a lot of different kinds of diets, and I had been. I never, drank in excess. I never smoked. I never did all of the things that we were taught to believe would lead to this kind of an issue. But nonetheless, here I find myself dealing with it. Um, this issue probably started quite a while ago with um, high blood pressure. And, I mean, I was diagnosed with that way back in my late 30s, early 40s.
Oh,
And
wow.
what I didn't realize at the time was that blood pressure medications do have side effects, and some of them can include kidney damage. So, in some ways, it's a gateway drug to the larger issue. Um, that said, um, I did experience several other things along the way that I think contributed. One of them was mold exposure when I was living in another country, and that was made a serious impact on my health. And the original diagnosis for kidney disease was actually took place in 2017 when I was living in Ecuador. I was able to benefit from some of the advanced therapies there. I was able to use advanced homeopathy and several other techniques that helped me to come back to center and really live a very high quality of life despite the issue. But when I returned to the US in 2019, um, I didn't have access to some of the same things. I found myself in some challenging living situations, and I got back on board with the standard American diet, the SAD diet. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't do me any favors. Um, Nonetheless, this journey really started for me last May, Memorial Day, as a matter of fact. I was at a friend over at my apartment, and I had been ill for some time. Um, Actually, I'd been bedridden for about 3 months, um, starting in January of that year, the year previous. Um, I had, I believe, I don't know, I didn't have a formal diagnosis, but I believe it was a version of COVID that just strung me out. And it was probably the last took the last chink in the armor, and really I think that was the real cause of the kidney issue. So Memorial Day of last year, in the late at night, my friend called 911, and the med techs came and got me. And I don't remember much about it, but they tell me that I was non-responsive, and when they asked me my name, I couldn't tell them.
Wow.
So that started a course of hospitalization. I was in hospital for 2 months. That put me on the road with kidney dialysis, and I was on kidney dialysis for 3 days a week for the remainder of that year, until I was able to get a seat in the dialysis center, which I have now. So my current life looks like 3 days a week I go to the kidney center with lovely people. They take great care of me, and it's a 4-hour session. So by the time I leave, generally around 12:30 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, come back about 7. And it's like my part-time job to stay healthy.
You have friends there now, huh?
I do. They're wonderful people, and they've become very dear to me.
Oh,
But
good.
it's life is always what we make it. This has been probably the most challenging time of my life. It's been a time of great contemplation. It's been a time of purification. I know that sounds funny. It's kind of a heavy word to use, but so much. When you're laying on your back in a hospital for 2 months, you have a lot of time to think about where you've come from and where you're going and what's important to you. And that was a time of rebirth in many ways. I came to see myself in a very different way. Came to love myself and love my life in a very different way. And now I find myself at a different stage of life where I have limitations that I have to deal with. But for the most part, I'm very positive and very excited about where I'm going, especially now as we're contemplating the QTWE of the marvelous gifts that God creates for us.
Wow.
So
That's quite an ordeal already.
Well, thank you. It is a lot to work through, and a lot of people don't understand what kidney dialysis does. It's our kidneys are marvelous little tools. They do so much for us, but principally they remove fluids, of course. They remove toxins, of course. And they also play a huge role in creating red blood cells and making sure that your hemoglobin levels stay at the levels that you need them. And of course, that is directly connected to your energy levels. So as I've been going through all of this, I've learned a lot more about it than I ever expected to. But throughout all this period, I've been in kind of a dance, because as you go in, when you're normal and healthy, your kidneys are functioning around the clock. So they're doing all of their great jobs to remove the toxins and to take care of removing the fluids. But when you try to compress that time, that 24-hour time, I don't know right offhand how many hours there are in a week, but I'm compressing my kidney time into 12 hours a week.
Oh,
So
wow.
you see what I'm saying? So the rest of the time, the body builds fluids, the body builds toxins. That impacts your energy. It impacts your mood. It impacts your emotions, emotional stability, all of those things. So, life becomes a little bit of more of a juggling act than it ever was. And it's frequently out of balance, trying to come back into balance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I could imagine that the day before your first session of the week, You know,
Mhm.
like say if you go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, by Sunday night, you're just probably feeling like crap, is my guess.
That's the way it used to be. And it's a very accurate assessment on your part. Um, what I was finding, probably I would say December of last year, it was working very much like that. I would go in for 3 days back to back, and I would get 4 days out. And by the time I had that fourth day out, I really was in rough shape. Um, Dialysis, when it's done in the center, is a little bit different. We're always managing the very specific, what we call a dry weight, which is the weight that your body has after you've taken off the excess fluids. So we manage down to that number each at the end of each session. And I can't explain it. I'm not an expert, but what I can say subjectively is that it's a very different experience. So um, I get a very good quality of life. Um, I I get good solid what I call mule energy. I don't get stallion energy, but I get good mule energy.
Well, that's
And
good.
so I move slower, but I'm moving. Um, I don't feel that bad at the end of the weekend. I do put on excess fluids, but I still do get relatively high quality of life. And some of that is because I'm doing a number of things to take better care of myself, and part of it is just luck as well. I mean, I look around the dialysis center and I see people who are in so much worse condition than I am. I'm just grateful every day that I can show up there and be feeling as good as I do feel.
Yeah. And then
Mhm.
you also have a couple other things going on, don't you?
I do. I have a fatty tumor, a cyst that's on my neck back here. Um, and I've had that, it's been with me for a long time, probably since I was about 21 years old.
Oh,
It's
wow.
continued to grow over the years. I was always reluctant to have surgery for a variety of reasons. And I think a part of me on some level knew that there would be a better way to take care of it at some point. I wasn't sure it was going to take quite this long, but it has grown to about the size of it's about 3 inches across, about the size of a tennis ball, probably.
Do you have
Um,
pain from like any nerve issues or anything like that?
Fortunately, no, and that's been one of the reasons that it's been easier to not address it,
Oh, good.
because I
Okay.
don't have any pain with it. I have some discomfort sometimes if I lay on the wrong side or the wrong way with it, but what's probably more significant is that it shows it's an indicator that my body has been having a hard time dealing with toxins for a long time, and it's been storing them in that location. So I'm looking forward to having that removed.
Yeah, I have to be honest, my dog has lipomas. I don't know if that's the same, but they call it a fatty tumor. And so
Yeah,
I've been giving him apple cider vinegar and dandelion tea.
that's
I
great.
give him this gravy. It's a vitamin gravy. And then I
Yeah,
put both of those in there because it's supposed to help with toxins.
that's
So
great. Yeah.
I don't know. My dogs go to the chiropractor. I mean, I
Your
take good
dogs are lucky to
care.
have you. Yeah, they chose wisely.
Well, we lost one sadly on Memorial Day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, yeah, I found out that he went on purpose, so I didn't have to make a decision for him.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it was heartbreaking, but I was hoping I'd get the home healing system in time. But now I'm just hoping I get it in time for the other one, So because he's old. I think Rocky's almost 13.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, everything is in God's timing. So I just trust, have faith.
They're beautiful animals. I saw them in your egg
Y-
video.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you sit down at the kitchen table, they're like, "What are you gonna feed me, Mom? I know it's better than what's in my dog bowl."
Has to be. That's great.
Oh yeah, they're funny.
Yeah.
So Is there anything else, Brian, that you've been feeling that you're looking forward to the Q arc being able to take away?
Absolutely. Um, Sleep is an issue. I think it's an issue for a lot of people. It certainly has been with me since I started this dialysis journey. And I don't know that it's a direct result of dialysis. I suspect that that's at least in part what it is. Um, I deal a lot with restless limbs, and they can get pretty violent at times. Um, and I understand that, at least in part, it's due to electrolyte balances. So I do a number of things um, to try to restore that balance. By the way, I'm going to want to try your electrolyte recipe um, to help that as well. So I'm looking forward to that. But it does get in the way of sleep. My sleep's been interrupted for a long time. So between that and I have some digestive issues that seem to be related to dialysis as well. And both of those things tend to wake me up. I don't sleep well generally. I probably go to bed typically between, 9, 10 o'clock, 10:30, something like that. And I usually don't rest well until well after midnight, 1:30. And then I do good sleep after that for the most part. And that
Wow.
has improved, by the way, since I started using the Q-Wave. So that has been helping too.
Oh, good, good. That's good to hear. Because the more
Mhm.
you sleep, the more your body can repair itself.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So that's been good. Um, Blood pressure continues to be an issue. It can go high, but it just one of the things that happens when you have dialysis is that it actually goes low by the end of a session. So um,
Ah,
it means that I keep it under control, but it's there's a fairly wide variation in between sessions. So that's something I'm looking forward definitely to having improve. And I there's an emotional evenness that I used to enjoy in my younger years. I was a pretty unflappable person. Nothing got to me. I was um, the guy in the middle of the storm, doing just fine. And that has changed over the last, especially over the last year or two. And it makes it more challenging because I have to manage emotions that I didn't have to manage before. And I have found an improvement since I've been using the device. Um, I think I am emotionally more even, which is a great gift. It was one that I wasn't expecting, to be candid with you. Um, but it has been helpful. And I think there's a greater level of peacefulness, peacefulness of heart that comes. I remember shortly after I joined, there was an image that someone posted in Telegram, and it had a picture of a cat. You might remember it. Somebody's cat was reaching over a pillow, and it had its paw right on top of the QA device. And I thought, what a smart cat, right? And I think of that often because I kind of feel that way about it. It's like having your Q teddy bear, and you just kind of reach out and get a kind of a quiet hug from it. And it does. That may sound funny, but it does actually work that way for me. So I've been enjoying that part of it, and I really think that um, so much of our emotion and so much of our mood, that emotional evenness and stability comes from the chemical processes in our body and from all of our organs working the way they're supposed to be working. So when that comes, it can be a huge gift.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, huge gift. And it's also, from my understanding, is it's the distortions in our frequency. It's like I say, it's like the information highway where all of our cells, organs communicate. And if there's a distortion or blockage in, one of those meridians or those channels, then it's not going to communicate effectively. So at
Yeah,
the end of the day, everything comes down to the frequency.
all
And
frequency.
yeah, I mean, everything, even this pen, and it's so simple, yet it's so complex for the world to understand.
I agree. I agree.
So it's lucky that we all, because QHS right now is such a small organization, we have thousands, but we're going to have millions. So we're the foundation as members and admin to be able to bring this to the masses. It's pretty exciting.
It's a huge, huge message. It's a huge mission. And I can't think of anything that's more important right now.
So
Or better.
soon, so
Mhm.
soon you're going to have a 30-year-old healthy body and all this knowledge and wisdom and experience to use at that point, which I'm sure you didn't have when you were 30. I didn't.
I surely didn't.
I,
I wish I had.
me too. So, but now we get a do-over. So what are you going to do with it, Brian?
That's a great question. I love that question. I I have given it some very serious thought because it's an easy thing to just kind of fob off and say, well, you know, it's going to be exciting. Well, yeah, sure it is. But I think I'm most excited about the quieter the quieter qualities that come from being healthy again. And it's like I just described for you, finding that sense of quiet excitement in your life, that sense of peacefulness, uh, that unflappable character, that um, the steady hand at the wheel. Um, those are all subtle qualities that come with being healthy and being strong. Um, Knowing what I know now, um, I I want to take care of my body in a different way than I ever had before. Um, like so many people and so many men, especially, I was trained. I was always trained to take the hill. I was always trained to go over the wall, around the wall, under the wall, but I was always the one who was going, right? And getting through the wall was the important part, not taking care of your body getting through the wall, right? Not taking care of yourself so that your efforts would be sustainable, not taking care of yourself in a way that you would be able to enjoy your later years, right? So I'm excited about being able to bring that perspective back to a fresh start. And um, instead of making self-care the last thing I do, make it the first thing that I do.
Yeah, you
Instead
can't
of
pour from an empty
exercise,
cup.
exactly, exactly. Instead of exercising in my spare time, exercising at the beginning of my day, putting that, taking care of that big rock first, to use Stephen Covey language. Um, there are a few things that are um, a little less serious, I guess. I'm looking forward to having a good steak. One of the things that you don't have when you're dealing with kidney issues is uh, meats that are high in purines. So we'll do it in moderation, not in excess. But I'm looking forward to a few of life's pleasures that I haven't been able to indulge in. Um, and there's I also want to look at my life differently. I actually made a list of a couple of things that I thought I would do. Can I share them with you? Um,
Yeah, please.
it's I actually wrote this the day before I received my QWave. It came in the mail, and I wanted to begin using it thoughtfully. I wanted to begin using it with intention. So rather than just strapping it on the first day, I waited until the weekend. And even before I put it on, I took it some time the previous day to say to myself, well, this is beginning a new life. What would I do differently was the question that I asked myself. And I've rephrased it to say, because I now know it's coming, I said, now that you can live your life over, what will you do differently?
Nice.
So I got a couple of things. I will only do things that I love to do. I'll make my life a game, seeing how much I can accomplish. I'll seek out colleagues and mentors who will support and inspire me and gently encourage me to reach higher. I'll focus on building my strengths instead of trying to improve my weaknesses. I'll be more selective of the people I allow into my life, and I would expect more of them. I'll never give away parts of myself in return for approval. I'll seek respect over approval.
Aw.
I'll expect more of myself and playfully hold myself to higher standards. And this one comes with a little bit of, I have to give you a little preamble. I enjoy cooking very much.
Me too.
Do you? Okay. And do you know Jacques Pepin?
Uh-uh.
French, he's a French chef, very well renowned and respected. And he had a television program. He's of the ilk of Julia Child and Graham Curran and all of the wonderful people who have had cooking shows. And his cooking show, it had a trailer, you know, at the end of the show, he'd finish up and he'd wish everybody goodbye. And then there was a trailer that always ran at the end of the show. And it was a picture of him. He was in his garden. He was surrounded by friends, other chefs. They were drinking wine and playing bocce ball and sharing this wonderful abundance of good food and joy. And the first time I saw that, I thought, wow, you know, that's the way I want my life to go. So so what I wrote was, I will find a way to enjoy the Jacques Pepin cooking show trailer lifestyle and find a way to embed it into my life, surrounding myself with calm, gentle, secure, and joyful people with whom I can be fully present while together celebrating.
I love it. That's
Thank
so
you.
cool.
Thank you. So those are, you know, some thoughts. There are more and there will be more, but that's the excitement of being able to do something over and to really do it right, to be able to undertake the interests and the projects and to do it from a place of having the time and the health to do it and to make a contribution along the way. I don't think it gets better than that.
I know. It's going to be so fun. Well,
Absolutely.
I am so excited and I can't wait to have you back for part 2 post QARC.
Me as well.
I think it's going to be lovely, and I may be in Salt Lake City when you're there. So
I
that'll
hope
be
so.
fun too.
Yes, I look forward to that. Very good.
Thank you,
you for this stuff.
Brian.
It's been my plum pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for making this QHS project fly. This valorous admin team, thank you. The Key community welcomes you. Thank you for making your home QHS healthy and happy. Thank you for helping us place QH centers all around the world. Together, hand in hand, we make miracles happen. QuantumHealingSystems.org. Thank you.